Cameroon, Niger, Nigeria, and Chad all share the area of the Lake Chad Basin, which finds itself at the heart of strategic problems as the lake constitutes the main vital resource for millions of riverside inhabitants. The Lake Chad Basin is also experiencing a security crisis. Attacks by the Boko Haram group have left thousands of people either dead or displaced in this part of the continent, and the needs of the vulnerable people must be addressed. The UNFPA, the United Nations Population Fund, has set up a regional coordination platform for the countries of the Lake Chad Basin. This is a joint cross-border project for Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, and Chad.
The idea of the platform is to bring a new orientation on how we want to intervene in this region and how we want to get our population to be able to resolve their issues on their own. So overall, that is what we want to bring to the region, because in the past we had programs that function in each country, but today we think that we should have a trans-border intervention because those populations are the same. They share the same difficulties, they have the same cultures, the same traditions. So there is no reason we couldn't have programs together that concern them together.
This integrated project is the first to bring together issues such as sexual and reproductive health, gender-based violence, vulnerability and risks in order to mitigate violence, to use youth as agents of change, to empower women and to combat radicalization. The overall objective of this joint cross-border project is to ensure that efforts are made to set up and strengthen the Humanitarian Response Coordination Platform.
Il s'agit de mettre en place toutes les forces vives de ces régions.
We want to unite all the forces in the region, get the traditional leaders together, get the religious leaders together, the youth organization, the women organization, and let's not forget the states themselves. There is already a forum of governors for those 4 regions, so it's about getting them together. Once we have generated demand, it will be about setting up the offer of services in sexual and reproductive health, by making available the products and the medication for the population and allowing women and youth to access adapted maternal health services. In a humanitarian situation, violence is generally heightened. It is said that 2% of women of childbearing age are potentially at risk of gender-based violence. So it is rather important when there is a region that counts about 3 million women of that age group. We need to do something. We need to put in place a strategy. We need to put in place a mechanism to care for the gender-based violence survivors so that they don't suffer even more.
We are heading for Maiduguri, the capital and the main city of the state of Borno in northeastern Nigeria. The city is located 100 kilometers from the Cameroonian border in the east, 200 kilometers from the border of Niger in the north, and 250 kilometers from the Chadian capital N'Djamena in the east. It is in this city that in 2002, the terrorist group Boko Haram was founded by Mohammed Yusuf. Maiduguri is one of the Nigerian cities that has been severely affected by the violence of the Islamist group. Muna Garage is one of the city's displacement camps. Here, in each tent, tales of violence related to the security crisis are told. Hawa Usman, 35 years old, lost her husband and 3 children killed in a Boko Haram attack that also cost her the amputation of her right arm following a gunshot wound. She has lived in Muna Garage for 3 years. She runs a small business that enables her to earn a living. She received support from the United Nations Population Fund and received training in soap and petroleum jelly manufacturing. My name is Hawa Usman and I am from Gosa. Boko Haram attacked us on a Tuesday, and until the following Friday they kept on shooting. And in this panic, many were traumatized and we were forced to leave our homes in order to be safe. I was forced to run away with 3 of my children, but unfortunately for me, they killed my 3 children right in front of me. With my husband, we ran another way to escape, but they also killed my husband. And during the shootings, I was hit in the leg and hand, which is why I had my hand amputated. So they gave me a device that could help me walk about, to walk to the camp where I was taught also to use it very well. And it's only recently they have been able to manage the whole mechanism. The greatest support I have received from the UNFPA is the mental and emotional support that they offered me. Because every time I was alone, I kept on thinking of my 3 children and my husband, who were all killed in front of my eyes. And I got traumatized every time I thought about it. I almost had a breakdown, but thanks to the ongoing support of the UNFPA advisors, I've also been able to overcome this ordeal. In addition to that, I was put in a discussion group for women who are more or less in the same situation as me. They have often talked about what they have been through. I must admit, it has given me a little bit of relief in relation to this inner wound that I'm forced to live with. Also, the fact that I went to the center every day helped me to progress and better use my leg that had been shot. They really helped me in that sense. In addition, the training I received here has helped me to master new skills such as sewing, soap and Vaseline production. So today, I am able to support myself through these capacity building activities. Fauzia Mohammed was raped at the age of 15 after she refused to enter into a marriage enforced by Mohammed Yusuf's men. She spent 4 years in the camp after fleeing and traveling hundreds of kilometers to reach Muna Garage. Now aged 19, with the help of partners, the young woman has received training in management, training that she passed with flying colors. We were attacked when we went to the market on a Wednesday. There were a lot of gunshots that day, and the whole city was surrounded by Boko Haram. They wanted to catch all the young girls in order to put them in forced marriages. Others, like me, were raped right there. I was beaten and I was also traumatized. It was later that we were rescued and we were taken to the Munagara camp where we received support. This has really helped me to understand more what actions are carried out by the UNFPA, thanks to the instructors who coached us. I had to be comforted, especially during one-on-one sessions with advisors. At first it was very difficult because of the rape I had suffered. I couldn't talk about it. But over time I've managed to recover little by little, because they've managed to provide me with the care I needed as a survivor of rape. They examined me to see what I was suffering from, and then they gave me specific medications. Thereafter, I let them know that I wanted to go to school. Then they signed me up, and thanks to that, I started school again. And I even had very good results, as you can see, with 8 credits, especially in scientific subjects. The conflict in northeastern Nigeria dates back 10 years, with an estimated displacement of nearly 1,800,000 people. The 3 most affected states are Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. Women and children account for 87% of new displacements in communities. Sexual violence and other forms of gender-based violence are among the most frequent violations. This is due to gender inequalities that give women very little bargaining power in the most affected states and often lead to early and forced marriage. Boko Haram's repeated attacks have resulted in serious physical security problems for displaced people living in these camps. 72% of the so-called suicide bombers are women. 57% of suicide attacks between January and July 2018, 57% of suicide attacks between January and July 2019 were carried out by children. It is estimated that 8,000 children, as young as 4, are used by armed groups. As part of its mission to combat gender-based violence, the UNFPA has taken charge of the monthly and quarterly coordination of 51 partners involved in the fight against gender-based violence. To date, it has trained 404 people on gender-based violence, with 74 service providers trained in collecting data. The coordinator of the Muna Garage Camp welcomes beneficiaries aged between 20 and 44 every day.
The population of this camp is about 37,800. We do many services here. It's an integrated services. We have the psychosocial part and we have the health services. We run sexual reproductive services. We do family planning. We do antenatal care services. We do family planning services, clinical management of rape services, and so on and so on. Then in the other part, they do psychosocial support counseling, either group 1 or sensitization. Then they do livelihood activities, skill acquisition, and so on and so forth. The daily population that were coming here out of the camp, we get about over 100 clients. About 50 to the health services, then 50 to the psychosocial services part. Our own limit is psychosocial support and the sexual reproductive health services. Though most of the time they complain of these food items and so on, but we collaborate and then link them with the people that were doing these services.
One of the UNFPA's high-impact strategies is social mobilization for behavior change in order to increase the demand for sexual and reproductive health services. Indeed, for the UN agency, the solution to this crisis lies in the way response is addressing the root causes, working with local communities in order to consolidate peace, reduce insecurity, relieve the affected populations, and engage in development.
UNFPA in Nigeria, the Northeast, that's the Borno State, Adamawa, Yobe, we have about 231 registered IDP camps. And in some of these IDP camps, some are found in the same LGA. UNFPA have about 36 women and girls friendly centers, including adolescents friendly centers. Such of the types you have seen. It has an integrated facility like a one-stop shop. Not to emphasize too much, but to be sure that government have been the lead. UNFPA is just providing the support for government to be able to achieve its own aim. And we have recently queued into what the recent government are doing in Nigeria. The new government in Borno State is doing a lot, addressing all the need in different fields. And UNFPA is queuing into all the plan of government, supporting what government is doing.
In Maiduguri, we visited the Dignity Production Center, which has welcomed several women victims of gender-based violence. In this center, they take part in different activities, including the manufacture of sanitary napkins.
This project is we are here to empower women. We produce sanitary pads. Is led by the Women Lead organization empowered by UNFP, and also to help the needy. We are also here, like most of them here, they came, they can't even write their name, so we empower them. Some of them are able to write their name. Even during the process, they were able to use the money, some of them to use to produce this local PEV. So this empowerment enable most of them who are less privileged and those who are who has lost hope. But this project liberated them a lot. We have different sections here. We have the cutting and we have the snap button room. And this guys here, you can see, they are the people that sew the sanitary pads. So this is what we do.
I'm really enjoying this work because from the money that we have earned here, I've been able to buy my own sewing machine, and I've been sewing to other people. And most of us here, we don't know how to write our names, but by coming here, we have learned how to write our names, and we are enjoying this work. Hoping this work will continue so that we can be able to earn more and learn more. We are so happy, we have enjoyed it, and we pray that more will come so that we can be able to do it.
Women in the state of Borno benefit from training in other areas such as sewing and the production of soap and petroleum jelly, body and hair cream.
In this center, this is the Women Development Center with the support of the Ministry of Women Affairs, Borno State Women Affairs. We are supporting 80 VVF survivors. We are training them in different skills. We have empowered them in different skills: tailoring, soap making, knitting, hairdressing. Yeah, the difficulty, we have the language barrier. Not because we can't speak Hausa, but we find out that we have from different languages. We have Kanuri, Hausa, and so many other languages. So that's that, number one. Then at the beginning, the fear was there on the part of these women.
Most of these women are survivors of obstetric fistulas who have been rejected by their loved ones at a time when they needed their assistance the most. They have been able to overcome this challenge through the multifunctional center set up by the UNFPA to manage cases of fistulas. Today, she has recovered and she is able to support herself. And she talks to us about her activities, highlighting the great satisfaction that has motivated her since her operation. I have suffered from fistulas for more than 10 years, but I was contacted by the UNFPA services and they welcomed me and relieved my suffering. The first time they operated, I kept on having leakages and they had to operate on me a second time. After my recovery, the organization offered me 8 months of training for the manufacturing of soaps, detergents and petroleum jelly. During the training period, they opened an account in my name where they deposited 10,000 naira each week. At the end of the training, I had about 90,000 nairas, about a little over $200 in my account. And this is when I had never had one in my whole life. And this was in addition to the daily bonus I had for my food and transportation. Besides that, they put us in groups of women associations so that we can maximize our revenues and better invest them. Because they have also given us training in financial management and how to save after the sale of some of our products. This is in addition to the commercial kits they gave us and the sum of money to allow us to rent a room and settle down. I feel very indebted to the UNFPA and I pray that this organization will continue to save many other vulnerable women who are in the same situation as me. With the money that has been deposited in my account, I will invest in production of soaps and petroleum jelly that I was taught at the center. And this business will enable me to continue to support myself and my family. Repair surgeries are performed in a specialized center where patients remain under supervision for 1 month to avoid any post-operative complications. We meet with the head physician of the facility.
The UNFPA had come to the aid of the state government with regards to this. And in doing so, it has greatly, over the years, supported the state in distribution and provision of reproductive health kits, particularly the life-saving commodities. There are doctors that have been sent on competency training in VVF repairs. And that has been ongoing for quite some time because we have in batches those that have been trained and have been delivering services in our various hospitals, particularly the State Specialist Hospital, where the Center for VVF for the Northeast is domiciled. And last year, about 142 patients, 142 were repaired. And this year, 72 for now, but there is a plan to continue in that direction.
The Nigerian government continues to lead the response to the Boko Haram attacks by providing and enabling an environment for international humanitarian actors to complement efforts to meet the vital needs of the population affected by the crisis.
The intervention of UNFPA with our ministry, basically we've had a lot of collaboration and excellent partnership over the years. Because the Ministry of Women Affairs is the line ministry, and we deal with issues affecting women and children in particular. And UNFPA has been very supportive Presently, we have about 24 space centers, some serious trauma, and at the end of the day, it affects them psychologically. So before we engage them in skills, we expose them to medical, both the physical repairs and also the psychological provision of their needs. So by and large, we're having a very collaborative engagement with the organization, and we pray and hope that we will improve on what we have so that as many as the vulnerable women and girls will benefit from the laudable initiatives that have already been put in place.
With regard to the platform, a significant investment has been made in recent years with the collaboration of traditional and religious leaders, women's and youth organizations, local government officials and civil society organizations to bring about change on various issues, including the prevention of violent extremism in the Lake Chad Basin.
Nous avons construit des espaces sûrs pour les populations, pour les jeunes.
We've created safe places for the population, for the youth, for women survivors of gender-based violence. We have made it possible for them to access maternal health services for pregnant women. There is about 100,000 women who have been able to have access to maternal and neonatal health services. We have also made it possible for youth to be screened and so that they can know their health status. In a short time, we have had many achievements that reassure us that by widening this project to the two other countries, Cameroon and Nigeria, we will be able to better address this problem of populations who cross borders.
Ce problème de ces populations qui traversent les frontières de part et d'autre.
For Nigeria, an important mechanism has been put in place focusing on gender-based violence in humanitarian situations in camps for internally displaced. In the northeast of the country, armed conflicts, forced displacements, compromised livelihoods, limited access to services and protection are all part of the daily lives of the population.
Au niveau du Nigeria, vous avez 3 régions, 3 États.
The 2019 Humanitarian Response Plan in this region has estimated that about 18 million persons are affected by this crisis, and among them there are 12 million persons who need emergency assistance. But from a financial point of view, we need $3 billion to be able to meet the need of the population who are affected by this crisis. So $3 billion is a lot of money and a great amount of need. And we call on the world international communities to mobilize so that we can mobilize all this funds and be able to bring assistance to those populations.
Evidence of success from the operation of the regional coordination platform in Niger and Chad has supported its expansion to Cameroon and Nigeria. Indeed, during the 2-year implementation period, this project has strengthened the capacity of health centers and referral centers in both countries to provide and generate demand for quality services, including family planning, as well as gender-based violence service for women and youth.
Thank you.